On April 10th, Angel Studios released their first ever animated film called The King of Kings, which depicts the ministry and life of Jesus, his death, burial, and resurrection like never seen before. Today, we're going to take a look to see how well this movie did on its first weekend at the box office. Additionally, I want to let you guys know one thing that I think you need to know before you go and see this movie that I think is going to help you make sure that you're well equipped to have certain conversations with your kids if you do bring them. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Jose, and today, guys, we're going to take a look at this movie, King of Kings, which came out last weekend, and we're going to take a look to see how well it actually did. This movie, I actually went to see it with my kids and my wife and my mom and my mother-in-law, and it was actually a really good movie. Highly recommend going to see it if you haven't already seen it. The best way to keep this ball rolling and making sure that these type of movies come out and have more Christian-based content out there in the world is going to be by having our voice heard. The way we do that nowadays is by putting our money forward and saying, hey, we like this, we're paying for it. When that happens, more people want to make movies because it's profitable. And yeah, it's all overall great. I definitely recommend going to see it. But we're going to take a look at how well this movie did. All right, so taking a look at this movie, I'm going to read this to you guys. So coming to number one at the box office last week was the Minecraft movie, which I don't even know how people are going to see that. I'm like, what is going on? $550 million mark in the global box office is absolutely insane. Apparently, this was the number one movie again last weekend. But coming in second place was our King of Kings movie. That was by Angel Studios. It said it fared best after winning over Middle America. The top grossing theater is in Spartanburg, South Carolina, right in the Bible Belt, and received a coveted A+ from ticket buyers. The movie, inspired by Charles Dickens, a tale of a boy whose father who explored the life of Jesus, opened in second place finish with better than expected $19 million from 3,200 locations in a successful marketing stunt. The kids are allowed for free. There you have it. Movie did fantastic. Actually, apparently it did better than expected with a $19 million opening box office at a limit. It's pretty much a limited showing because there's 3,200 locations. As you can tell, Minecraft had, let's see, 4,200 locations. So that's like 1,000 more locations with, that's just locations, and then there's like all the showings that are within that location. So you can think of how many more showings they have. Obviously, they're going to make a lot more, but I think for one being one of its first of its kind animated movie of Jesus, modern at least, depiction of Jesus in an animation, did really good. For how many theaters it was at, being 3,200 is insane. I think it did well, and then obviously like allowing kids in for free, like I don't think that counts towards the total amount of the box office. You think about like families with 2, 3, 4 kids, right? You're missing out on a ton of money to do that. But I think that goes to show that even though they're losing money on that end, the end goal is to have this open, we're opening up the door to the life of Jesus and showing it a different way, you know, making essentially the Bible come to life for these kids. And that message is getting across well. And I think letting the kids go in for free is just an addition to showing like the heart behind what the movie is for. So that's really amazing, in my opinion. I think this movie is fantastic. I went to see it myself, as I mentioned, with my kids and I went with my wife and family and everybody, and it was a really good movie. One thing that I do want to call out, which I ended up making a TikTok of before, but I want to call out again, is I think we need to be prepared to have these conversations with our kids, right? Like if we're not necessarily exposing them or talking to them all about everything in the Bible, specifically like the demonic, casting out demons, doing stuff like that, the temptation of Jesus, who Satan is, and that whole aspect of it, you're going to want to brush up on that because the movie does go over those instances where it goes over the temptation of Jesus. It kind of brings Satan into the picture. It doesn't necessarily show him, but there's like a voice that comes over and is like tempting him. And so your kids might question, you know, what is that? And then it also has the scene of where Jesus casts out the demons out of the man. It says, we are legion. And then it goes out, it goes to the pigs, and then they end up killing themselves. So that's another scene that I wasn't expecting to be in the movie, but I'm grateful that it was. But it's definitely something that if you haven't already talked to your kids about, then you want to make sure that you know that that's in there. So, you know, you can explain it well, have your mind prepped to answer that question instead of being caught off guard and trying to be like, you know, because I think sometimes, at least I have a tendency to like want to like protect my kids from like knowing like the demonic and like evil and stuff like that, but it's out there, it's real, and so I think we got to make sure that our kids know about it. And this question might come up, so we just want to make sure you're prepared to be able to explain that for them. But otherwise, besides that, guys, the movie is fantastic. I highly recommend going to see it. This Easter weekend is probably going to do really well again. And again, if we want to make sure that our voice is heard and keep things like this in like the general media and stuff like that, we got to get that out. We got to get out there. We got to pay to go see this stuff and make it a big deal, because just like The Chosen is absolutely huge, Angel Studios is doing really well, obviously, same thing. But that's because people are actually going out, they're watching, they're paying hard, they're paying money to go see this stuff, and it's creating like a snowball effect of like it's continuing to grow, and people are going to see it more, which is hopefully reaching people who are curious about Jesus and curious about the Gospels, and they're being exposed to this actually biblically based content, and hopefully that leads them to a life of knowing Jesus in the full. And so, with that being said, guys, I hope you liked the video. Make sure you let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Did you watch the movie? What do you think? What was your favorite part? And we'll see you guys later. You guys have a great Easter. Bye.